Hey guys, welcome back to The Interceptor. We are here with war number 9 of season 45, and today we are actually bringing Tigra to war. I will be channeling my inner Fintech and attempting to not die with her, because if you recall, the last war I brought her, she died to an Adam Warlock on 47, because I learned it's not a good matchup for Tigra. She can do it, but it's not a good idea. And it's not Adam Warlock that we're fighting this war. But we have another 9 fights. We have another boss. And Stealthy was not banned, which is awesome. And we're going path 5 to path 5. Because, I mean, Stealthy pauses protection. So if Stealthy can take all 4 fights, I'm going to be sent there. And that's what happened this war. So we have this Darkhawk on the first node. Also, I should mention, in this war, I did not get my assignments until an hour before I cleared. And I cleared with, I don't know how much left, but for some reason the assignments were delayed today. I'm not exactly sure why, but luckily I was able to clear like right after I got my assignments. So I literally joined war, waited to get to 6 out of 6 energy, and then I started fighting. So, yeah, less than an hour later. This Darkhawk, I mean, it's a rank 4 6-star, but if this was a rank 4 8-star, this would still be an easy fight with Stealthy. It's just I don't know why he's there. But we have Wiccan on the next node. And the 2 fights that Tigra is for are a Gorr and a Hulkling. And just to be clear, Hood is significantly better for the Gorr than Tigra is. However, can't take the Hulkling as safely. I'm sure I could do it if I tried, and I would probably do it in the off season if I saw that placement. But just in war season, I was pretty confident for the Gorr fight because I've seen it several times. But I want to be safe for the Hulkling fight, which is why I went with Tigra. And I actually was assigned Tigra, but I, of course, did my checks to see, is there any way I can bring Hood instead? And the answer was no this war. So we have this Wiccan. There I could have just parried and killed him, and I would have ended with full health because of the 2 debuffs on me, the Neutralize and the Incinerate. Of course, it's a 0 damage Incinerate because I had debuffs on Wiccan when he inflicted them, so they do no damage. But we have 2 decently tough fights here in this in section 2, and it's going to be Rintrah and Maw with Stealth Spidey. And the reason this is a little tough is because well, this first node isn't really tough. It's just a bit of a longer fight because Rintrah's very beefy. But on the second node for the Ebony Maw, if I trigger a dex buff on myself and then he dashes at me and throws his SP1 and that's his first time nullifying in the fight, I will take full degen damage because I won't be able to prevent it if he shrugs the debuffs right after. But this first fight, really straightforward. I am going to play this super slow the way I normally fight against Rintrah. It's going to take about 2 minutes. I'm going to get the protection down right here. But, sorry, not right there. Right here with a naked intercept. But, yeah, I'm just going to play it slow, bait SP1s, because I'm just trying to be safe here because, of course, this has the Sadist node, and if I were to get hit, I would probably die instantly. I do have an invuln boost on here, but say I lost that invuln boost and then I ate an SP2, if that SP2 crit, it would kill me from full health. So, just being super safe here. Making sure I keep up my slow. I believe I am going to throw my SP2 in a moment, just to refresh my slow. But here, he did not want to throw the SP1, but luckily he's actually going to let me hit into his block with a medium 3 times to get my withers back up, which means that when this dex buff expires, he will not be getting as much power as he would have for a Mystic Dispersion. But yeah, there, I throw my SP2, partially to knock him down to make him more likely to throw a special, but also just to refresh my slow, just in case, because you never know what can happen. Here, In hindsight, I was doing enough damage that if I had just chained that into a striker into a combo, it absolutely would have killed, because this combo right here kills. But I was just being safe. Why not bait out one more SP1, you know? And that fight was actually faster than I thought. For some reason, I thought that fight took 2 minutes, but it was 1:30. So that's not bad. This fight is going to be a little bit more difficult because he is going to go unstoppable at least once in this fight that I can think of. And also, I am going to get degened in this fight. But you'll see what happens. I'm just making sure my invuln boost was still active. I have my slow pre-fight on. We're going to go in here. And I'm actually going to make one big mistake in this fight that I did notice at one point, but it was too late to recover from the mistake. And the mistake that I make is that I actually forget to ever throw an SP1. Like, I literally don't throw an SP1 in this fight. And I don't know why. I think it's just that I was so focused on getting, like, the slow up right there that I just completely forgot that right here I need to throw SP1. Because if I'd chained that combo into an SP1, this fight would have been legitimately, like, 45 seconds faster than it is. I lost that much time. But, yeah, that just sucks. I mean, that's pretty much all there is. Most of the time so far that I've activated the slow, he's dashed back right away. Here I'm going to activate it again. Sorry, I'm not going to activate it there, I guess. But there I'm going to hit into the block. I'm going to get degen. But luckily at that time I had debuffs up. And for each way that Ebony Maw degens you, he can only do it once per fight, which is missing, nullifying, and stealing your power via a heavy attack. Those are the 3 ways he can degen you. And luckily, I've already activated 2 of those ways while I had debuffs up, which was really, really convenient. But here, I'm just trying to kill him. Again, this fight is just taking way longer because I'm not critting. Simply put, I'm not critting. There he goes unstoppable, but I'm just going to throw the SP3 because, I mean, he's not indestructible or anything. He's still going to take a good amount of damage from this because I still have 2 Furies up. He gets down to 15%, and here I'm just going to throw my striker. I was trying to get him to throw the SP1, but he was just not throwing it, so you know what? I just went for the striker here. I did slow my combo to check if he was going to trigger unstoppable. He did not. So we do take that fight down, but that's probably a fight you can do about in about 1:10 with average AI if you remember to throw an SP1. But I don't know why I didn't. I was just not thinking about it in the moment. I was too focused on other things in that fight. But luckily it's okay. Luckily it's okay. Here, this is America Chavez on 38. And I believe there were actually 2 fights this war that I was supposed to wait for a White Magneto pre-fight. But I just didn't want to wait because I had stuff to do before class right after I woke up. So, like, I literally woke up, joined war, went back to sleep for a half hour, woke up, and then, like, 20 minutes later I started fighting. But, yeah, the person that was supposed to apply the White Knights pre-fight had not joined war yet, so I just figured I don't really need it for any reason, so I'm just not going to wait for it. I don't need it. And I do make one mistake in this fight, which was blocking that SP1. I'm so used to blocking her SP1 on this node after I've removed the protection by knocking her down, which means I don't have a slow active, so I can't trigger Dex unless or I'll risk her going unstoppable. I'm so used to doing that it kind of threw me off here, and I forgot that the place I was in that moment was completely safe to do that. But here we are just going to chain this into a combo. There I could have thrown an SP2 and it would have killed, but you know what? It's fine. It's still a minute fight, despite that one mistake I made. I mean, that mistake didn't lose time. It only made me take like 2,000 extra damage for no reason, but whatever. And now we have our 2 Tigra fights. We have this Gorr, and then our next fight is a Hulkling, and I am not going to make the mistake of using an SP1 boost, because if I use an SP1 boost for the next fight, the defender's going to start with Vigilance, and I won't be able to miss. Now, I don't end up ever activating my miss in that fight, but had I needed it, it would have been nice if it were available. So that's the reason I didn't use an SP1 boost here. This is Gorr on the damage reflection node, but I don't really care, and I'm just going to hit him while he's stunned because of the 85% protection. But here I just need to bait heavies and counter with heavies, and there luckily I had a buff expire on him, so I gained a bunch of power from Mystic Dispersion. I was expecting this first SP2 to do a little more damage than it did, but you know what, it did a good amount. He's below half, and here I just need to bait 2 more heavies and counter with a heavy, and the fight should be done. But here he's in the corner, so I go for a heavy intercept, it lands, and my SP2 is going to nuke him. So, very fast fight, not a flawless fight. I could have played it a little slower, baited out SP1s, because I am very comfortable countering his SP1 with a heavy, because it's just 4 dashbacks from the moment that he activates it, and then you usually wait a second to make sure your spacing's right before you charge heavy attack, but I can do it very consistently in that matchup. I just figured it was not necessary. And here, this is Hulkling on node 47. This is a pretty straightforward fight with Tigra. Tigra is a very, very good Hulkling counter, and Hulkling's actually not going to get to throw an SP1 in this fight. There is a way that you can prevent, or any special for that matter, there is a way that you can prevent him from ever getting a buff, which is by intercepting for your first hit, but I chose to just block there, let him get 1 pierce, and I'll take a little bit of damage. Here I'm going to get to my SP2, I'm going to throw it, and he's going to die. This is a rank 4 Tigra. Now, I did have to throw an SP1 after, but the ruptures were ticking for enough that, let's say he threw his SP2 right there, if I hadn't thrown my SP1, he would have died from ruptures during the special attack. That's how close that SP2 was to killing, so I wasn't concerned whatsoever there. And that was a nice, very fast fight from Tigra. And that's actually all Tigra is going to contribute this war, those 2 fights. But you know what? Those were 2 fights. Stealthy can't do that safely. So I'm happy to have Tigra taking those fights. And it's also nice to break my streak of dying with Tigra. Well, I wouldn't call it a streak, but at least the last time I used Tigra, I died with her. So here we have a Mysterio that on node 49, the node he's normally on, which I personally don't even think is a good placement unless you ban Stealthy, because it's just so effortless with Stealthy. But this is actually a rank 1 7-star instead of a rank 2. I guess they didn't have a 7-star rank 2. But this is a really straightforward fight. It's not really any faster than when I take a rank 2 on this node. I think it's like a 15-second difference, which is nothing. It's like it's an irrelevant difference. But here, Mysterio was not throwing special, so I just went for a intercept. And he goes down in 48 seconds. And we have a rank 2 7-star Sasquatch boss. Now, I'll be honest, when I saw this boss, I was hoping it was a rank 3. Because that would have been cool. It would have been cool to take a rank 3 Sasquatch boss. I would have loved that. But no, they did not place, they do not have a rank 3 Sasquatch boss. But you know what? A rank 2 is still fine. And if you recall, the first time I took this fight, it took about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. This one's going to take a little longer, and it's mostly due to 2 things. The first is that Sasquatch is not going to be as nice with throwing his SP2 as he was in the last fight, and there is one time specifically that's going to take him quite a while to throw that special. But here I still had an SP1 boost on from the Mysterio, so I wanted to throw SP1 there just because I was worried about this combo here pushing me to an SP2 had I not thrown that SP1, but it did not. We were fine, and I've got some really bad RNG in this fight with Sasquatch throwing his SP1 out of nowhere for no reason, but he's only going to do it twice this whole fight, so that's not terrible. It just made me take a little bit extra block damage. And I said there were 2 factors that that made this fight a little longer than it was last time. The first being him not throwing specials, and the second thing being that I just got unfortunate activations like, unfortunate times where he activated Wrath of Tanarak. Like right here, I have to take a little bit of extra block damage, just wasting a little bit of time, because I do a lot of damage during Wrath of Tanarak. First, because there's no resistance to damage like there normally is with Sasquatch with his charges. All his charges go away during Wrath of Tanarak. But secondly, I just bait SP2, hit with a combo, bait with SP2. It's a lot faster. It's a lot faster way of dealing damage than just normal hitting and baiting heavies or intercepting is. So for those two reasons, this fight's going to take a little bit. But you know what? A minute and a half in, he's below half health. So I know I'm definitely absolutely nowhere near timing out. I throw my SP3 here to push him to an SP2. It was not to get my charges back because I don't need my charges back for any reason. In fact, I don't think I end a combo with a light attack or throw another SP2 this whole fight. But you know what? If it helps push to SP2 for free, I will take it. So here, I believe this is the time he's not going to throw his SP2. I think it's just going to take him a really long time until all of my debuffs are pretty much gone there. Yeah, that took him about an extra 10 seconds for no reason. And the reason that is annoying is because Max Despair helps reduce his regeneration from his dupe ability. And I do run Max Despair, so when I have 6 debuffs on, it's a lot. That's I forget, is it 10% at max or at 3 out of 3 despair? I forget. It's either 10 or 15%. If it's 10%, that's 60% regen reduction. Or if it's 15%, that's 90%. But I honestly just don't remember what the percentage is. But anyways, here he's below 10%, and right here is where I'm going to throw my other SP3. Again, completely unnecessary. It was just to guarantee he didn't throw an SP1, because I'm not confident enough with this amount of risk to go for an SP1 counter. But there he does go down in just barely over 3 minutes, so you know what? That is completely fine with me. I will take that. A Sasquatch boss kill, and through 9 wars, I have 8 boss kills. And the only reason I don't have 9 is because it was a war that Stealthy was banned, first off, and the boss was a Maestro, and my officer could not fit Hood into my team. And that's the reason I couldn't do it. But yeah, we do solo all of our fights. Again, I cleared like an hour after assignments came out, so I'm very happy to get my war done. Not earlier, because I've done my wars a lot earlier when assignments come out earlier, but you know what? There was very little time that I had to stress about my fights, because after I saw them, I just pretty much took them almost right away. But we'll talk about the results of this war. We demolished these guys. The war is still not over at the time I'm recording this. There's 4 hours left. Yeah, there's 4 hours left, so it's about an hour after I cleared, as you can see at the top there, 5 hours left. GG's to PLN. So we are now 4-5 on the season. I have 0 deaths, and my PSR is now 75 out of 75 fights, or 100%. And my Deathless streak is up to 76 fights in a row. And just to be clear on the score is currently 22-4, and they have about 30 fights left, 35 fights left, and we have 20-ish fights left. I could be wrong on that number. But based on those stats, I'm predicting a final score of roughly 25-6, roughly. But again, I don't know. All I know for sure is that we won this war. So that is going to be all. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we only have 3 wars left of the season. It's been a really beautiful season, and hopefully I can finish out the last week of the season as cleanly as I've been doing these first 9 wars. That is all for today, and I will see you all later.